and welcome back. My name is V, and today I would like to talk about something that I think is going to be quite interesting to anyone who's subscribed here on the channel during my time of making Final Fantasy XIV content. It's a little bit of an explanation on where the channel is going right now and what you're seeing on the channel, why you're seeing it on the channel, and what I overall have envisioned as the future of the channel in general. First of all, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, especially if you enjoy Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, other MMORPGs, because that's what I do here. Now, as you may know, when I first created my channel, this was not a gaming channel at all, and I actually went into the full story and history of the channel in one of my previous videos, the rebrand video that you can also find here on the channel that I posted about a week or two ago. In short, when I created this channel, it wasn't supposed to be a gaming channel at all. And after that, I started doing some World of Warcraft content, moved on to Final Fantasy XIV, and then started playing pretty much any MMORPG on or off stream. Regardless, I was making MMORPG content, patch content for Final Fantasy XIV, guides, live streams, and other things. And for a while, it just felt like I was trying to do everything at the same time. Which I feel has maybe diluted the identity of the channel a little bit. But I was pretty happy overall with my Final Fantasy XIV era. It was a really good time. And if you've been there during the Final Fantasy XIV, the COVID era, right? When everybody was inside, everybody was watching streamers play through Final Fantasy XIV MSQ, guides were popping up, reaction videos were popping off, everything was going great, and we should have anticipated that that's not something that is going to continue, but we didn't. And this is easy as a content creator to overlook. When you're successful, you don't spend as much time, if you're not experienced enough, of course, you don't spend as much time thinking about what you're doing right and trying to replicate it. You're just riding the train and you are trying to be on the train for as long as possible. So I was on this train, and after I finished with the Final Fantasy XIV MSQ, the train kind of slowed down, and I looked back and tried to see if there was anything in particular that I was really proud of when it comes to my Final Fantasy XIV content. And even though some of these videos were good, I still see that there was a lot of potential that I could have extracted out of these videos, and I didn't. I created no short form content, as in highlights and short videos for, I don't know, Twitter or TikTok or Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, whatever there is. I am not that proud of my Final Fantasy XIV MSQ playthrough anymore. Not because I think it's bad. I actually really did enjoy playing the game, and I think I overall did a good job. But I also have learned a lot since then. I've learned how to actually read the quest and not create a disruptive experience for my chat, how to create this balance between talking and being in a cutscene and other things, which don't really sound like skills that are hard to master, but they really are if you're a content creator, and I'd like to think that I've somewhat mastered them. So I'm looking at this content and I'm trying to see if there is a pattern of success that was within my control. And obviously there was consistency, but apart from that, I think that the success of the channel was unreasonable when it comes to the content produced itself. There were a lot of different circumstances that came into play during 2019, 2020, even 2021 that really helped a lot of YouTube channels. And even though I worked hard, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking this away from myself. I'm still very proud of all the work that I've done. There was still a little bit of being in the right place at the right time. And I'm very grateful to myself for that, because I am normally the person who feels like she's never in the right place at the right time. And that one time I was there when I was supposed to be there, and I am very happy for that. So after the MSQ has ended, I tried to plan my Final Fantasy XIV content. And I even remember this particular YouTube live stream, and I believe that this was the last MSQ live stream of Endwalker. It was such a great and an emotional experience, and everything was popping off. And I remember during that time I was on YouTube only. I was not even streaming it on Twitch, and there were 100 and something people just sitting there in the live stream, just vibing, watching the reaction. And I, innocently enough, as a content creator who was new to any larger numbers like that, I thought to myself, okay, so there's all these people here now, how do I keep them? Which is not a bad question to ask yourself as a content creator. But it might have not occurred to me that I can't just go and keep this audience, because this audience was there for their own reasons that may not have included me as a content creator per se, because a lot of these people were new to me. Now, I accept a part of this responsibility and say that maybe I didn't do enough when it comes to letting people know that I, create content, that the content is here to stay, that I'm going to be creating more content that they're interested in. Maybe I just very arrogantly and naively thought that just me being here is enough for them to want to actually come back, and that's just not something that happened after MSQ. So after MSQ, and do mind all of the results from the MSQ itself were enough of a cushion for me in my mind to be able to actually get myself divorced and move out, which is what I ended up doing. What I didn't anticipate is that I would move out, and that after the MSQ was done, after I went through extreme raids and extreme trials, that is, and went into a little bit of Savage, that after all this time that the viewership would drop significantly and the people were just not interested in side quests and other Final Fantasy XIV side content anymore, at least in my case. I started to really question my existence as a content creator. And I think somewhat out of desperation, I put the, back then it was Mom's Den, and now it's Vplays MMO. I put the future of the channel on hold a little bit to create another YouTube channel, which is Vplays, where I do my variety content exclusively. And I realized that I'm just not going to survive as a content creator if I rely on milking Final Fantasy XIV for everything that it's got. Now, for some people that works. For me and for my audience, that just didn't work, and that's totally fine. I feel no resentment. If anything, I feel gratitude for everyone who has supported me during this time and even after, as there are core community members now who have met me through the Final Fantasy XIV MSQ and are still here to stay. And there are no words for me to describe how grateful I am for these people who have stuck around, not just for Final Fantasy XIV, but through pretty much every variety game that I ended up playing. My heart is full. I just cannot find the words to describe how grateful I am for those people, because they have pushed me through those initial stages of turning myself into a variety content creator, essentially playing through Nier Replicant, Nier Automata, which ended up being some of my favorite games, and Nier Replicant is definitely one of my favorite games of all time now. Playing through other Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, 10, Crisis Core, doing all these things that I didn't think that I would be doing as a Final Fantasy XIV content creator. Naively enough, I thought that there was no need for it, and as it turns out, there is a need to create other content apart FF14. So what I've learned during this time is that it is just very, very difficult to create full-time content for Final Fantasy XIV, as Final Fantasy XIV is a seasonal game, and that small updates like occasional events and other things are just not enough in the meantime to keep the channel alive. And I decided that I'm just going to have to split my time and create the community around the community itself and not around the Final Fantasy XIV MSQ, which I still want to do, and I'm still committed to doing it whenever it is available. But it is not something that I can use to identify myself as a content creator anymore. So like I said, when I started doing variety content, I made V-plays, and I had the toughest year as a content creator during this time. You have to understand that my MMO channel, this one, was already a monetized YouTube channel. I was not on Twitch, and for a time this was my only source of income. So my Final Fantasy XIV guides, even my World of Warcraft mount guides, pet guides, and all this other stuff that I was doing on YouTube, I was for a time living off of ad revenue. And this was a consistent source of income. I, at the time, didn't have Patreon, didn't have Twitch, didn't have another YouTube channel, didn't have any of these things, didn't have crowd support. And during this very sensitive time, I decided to take a huge risk and create my variety channel that was not monetized. I started from 0 subscribers. And to be fair, thanks to the Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft community here on the channel, I was able to promote my V-Plays channel to the point that I went from 0 to 100 or so subscribers in a few days. And that really meant a lot, not just for the channel, but for my own confidence boost as a creator, because I felt like there are still people around who want to hear what I have to say, who want to see the games that I want to play, and who see me as a content creator and not just as a machine or a voice that was just reading these FF14 cutscenes or helping them understand the story when they were skipping it because they wanted to raid or anything of the sort. So I'm finding it very difficult sometimes to explain this on stream and to the community in general, but we are human beings. And if there's one thing that a content creator doesn't like to feel, it's feeling like we are a voice or a conduit for content that someone enjoys. And this is a very, very harsh truth, especially on Twitch, where when you create, or if you create variety content, you are inevitably turning yourself into a voice and a conduit, because some people will find you through the category of the game that you play, and some people will enjoy you being their voice for this journey that they're ready to embark on once more, maybe years after they played the game, maybe days after they played the game themselves and just want to re-experience it again while it's still fresh or understand it better. And there's a chance always that that community will move on from your content because you don't play their favorite game anymore. And that is completely fine. That is completely fine. You should always cherish and appreciate your viewers for being there for the content that they enjoy, because at the end of the day, it is nobody's responsibility to be there for you at all times. But some people will be. And I am so grateful for people who actually show up and turn up for these games that I play, for this content that I do, no matter what the content is. And I keep talking about this gratitude, but I am so grateful for this core community that we have. Because without it, I don't know if I would have ever had the motivation to get V-Plays to the level that it is on right now, which is not like a superstar level, but it is actually enough to keep me going for a time as a content creator, and I'm very grateful. Another reason why I decided to not do Final Fantasy 14 content full time anymore is because I don't like putting all of my eggs into the same basket per se, which has already been explained somewhat throughout this video, but this doesn't apply just to content. This also applies to monetization and everything else. When you play a singular game, and if you're trying to be a content creator, there are only, well, a full-time content creator that is, there are only a few ways if you are not variety where you can actually monetize your content. Because you are very limited when it comes to the content that you produce, and sometimes it's very difficult to come up with perks for everything, and that includes your YouTube memberships, your Patreon, your Twitch subscriber perks, anything of the sort. It is difficult to get supported as a creator when you are already being supported on one platform in a certain way, and you just can't get enough ways, or maybe you don't have enough ideas on how you would keep yourself going. So if Final Fantasy 14 is not doing amazing, if there's a lull in content or something like that, I still feel like I have to survive. Obviously, I have a family to feed and myself to feed, and I have to, and I want to continue to create content. So I have no intention of taking a break when Final Fantasy 14 content is not at its peak, or even when World of Warcraft content is not at its peak, as this is also something that I've, I guess for a time, suppressed as a part of the channel identity, but instead I'm just going to embrace it, because at the end of the day, World of Warcraft content is still a part of who we are here on Vplays MMO. So I am very happy to be around all year long with different content and not just 14. At the end of the day, it is very difficult to consistently play Final Fantasy 14 when you're finding yourself not that involved with the community, maybe on your server or world or whatever you want to call it. And when you realize that in order for you to create content, you have to have either a group of committed people who are going to be there a year long, or you're going to rely on Party Finder. Because guess what? If you're around all year long, sometimes you're going to be doing content that doesn't have anything to do with the story and that you need the people for. And right now, I feel like I am not at that stage, and I am not ready to manage a community that I will keep engaged for a year long. We do have an FC, we do have a house, but apart from that, I don't feel ready to organize weekly events and to lead raids or anything of the sort just to keep people subscribed, just to keep people going. And I also don't spend enough time in the game itself to connect with other FCs and maybe to be a part of one, and or not just FC, but you know, a raiding group in general, where I will feel like I have company for creating content. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I, as someone who's very independent and who's somewhat used to doing things on her own, I find it very difficult to rely on other people and to keep myself pressured to keep people around in the community so that I could make content. I feel like it's a little bit of a selfish goal, and at the end of the day, I want to have the freedom to wake up on any given day and say, today I don't want to play Final Fantasy 14, I really want to play a story game, or I really want to play my card games or anything of the sort, and still be fine. If I'm choosing Final Fantasy 14 as content, that is my content, and I have to make Final Fantasy 14 work for the channel, no matter what, regardless of everything. And that is just not the life that I want to lead. It is pressuring. It gets depressing, and at the end of the day, even Yoshi P himself has said that that is not the way that they've designed the game. So for me to artificially be turning it into a piece of content that I can't enjoy every day, I feel is unhealthy for me long term. So I decided to not do that, but still be around year long on any of my channels. And last but not least, I mentioned that I do want to dive a little deeper into some of my variety games. And if you've been subscribed to my Vplays channel, if you haven't, it's probably time to go and do so right now. I've been in my Persona era for quite some time now. This year I played Persona 3 Reload and I fell in love with the franchise. It actually became my favorite game, a favorite variety game, because Final Fantasy XIV is just not something that I can categorize with other games. But when it comes to a variety, Persona 3 Reload is definitely my favorite. I, after that, started playing Persona 4 Golden, which hopefully I'm about two-thirds in when it comes to the MSQ. And I love these two games so much that I'm going to go back and try to get all the achievements for the games, because I do feel massive FOMO when it comes to these social links and other aspects of the game that I haven't gotten to experience yet. And after I'm done with these two projects and the Persona 3 DLC, which is coming out on September 10th, I am planning to embark on a massive journey, and that is Persona 5 Royale. If you're a fan of Persona, or if you know anything about Persona 5, you probably know a little bit more about it than me, because I have never played it. But it is one of the longest JRPGs that you can ever experience. I'm hearing stories about it being 200 hours, 300 hours of content, and I want to experience it on my terms. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to rush it. I want to share it with the community. I want to provide a really good experience on live stream. And by the way, Persona games are something that I will always live stream. I will never go through a Persona story off stream. That is a promise. And if I'm committed to streaming Persona 5 Royale, it is going to take a very long time. I'm not saying that I'm going to not do Final Fantasy XIV content or World of Warcraft content or anything of the sort, but for the time being, this is going to become a big part of my content and my identity as a content creator. And I really do hope that even if you are a 14 enjoyer, if you have any love for Persona or JRPGs in general, I really do hope that you'll drop by and see what all this is about and possibly enjoy the journey along with me. And having this sort of commitment is simply going to stop me from being a full-time content creator when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV. And I am actually okay with that, because for the first time after a couple of years of content lull and post-COVID situation where the views are dropping and the situation is just not the same on YouTube as it was 3 years ago, I am actually very happy with my identity as a content creator. I'm happy with my community. I'm happy with where all of my channels are going, and most importantly, I'm happy with myself. And I want to share that. I want to invite you to join me on these journeys. And even if you don't know anything about Persona in general, like I said, this is something that I do on my live streams. You can check out my Twitch channel and Vplays YouTube channel as well, where I also live stream if you prefer the YouTube interface. And that's where you can find me doing actual live stream content. As per Final Fantasy XIV content, it is going to continue, not always in the form of live streams, even though I am committed to finishing the Dawn Trail MSQ, which due to circumstances wasn't possible for me to finish earlier. I am still committed to doing raids, do achievement hunting, and do all of these guides that some people have really come to rely on when it comes to pets and mounts and achievements and accessories and all these things. I will continue to make Final Fantasy XIV content. I just don't promise it to be always on live stream, and that is for now going to be the nature of the channel unless something changes. That is how it is, and I hope to have you around. That's pretty much going to be it for this video. If you've stuck around till the end, thank you. It means that you really do care about my content, about where my channel is going and where I'm going as a content creator. So massive, massive thank you for sticking around, for listening to my story. And if you are here, I'm sure that you have something to say, so feel free to drop a comment below and tell me how you feel about creating Final Fantasy XIV content, consuming it all year long if you are a viewer rather than a content creator, and how you feel about the changes on my channels in general. I really hope to hear from you, and if you are new to the channel and if you're still watching this video, thank you for being interested in my content and for listening to my story. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you know where to come back for all this good stuff, and I will be seeing you in my next video. Thanks so much, take care, have a lovely day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.